You knew something serious had happened, and it was kind of a disturbing thing.
You just finished watching an NBC News special report on the explosions in Boston. Tonight, hear what Mid-Missouri runners who experienced the chaos firsthand.
Thunderstorms with heavy rain are rolling through our viewing area, and there could be more.
And a special tribute celebrating the life of an 8-year-old who died last summer. KOMU 8 News at 10 starts now.
From Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News at 10.
Us at the finish line. Tonight, authorities are scrambling to figure out who is responsible for the bombings at the Boston Marathon. Good evening. I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Ray. Thanks for joining us. KOMU 8's Gina Cook spoke with Columbia athletes who were at the marathon when the explosions happened. She joins us now, and you heard some very interesting reactions today, didn't you?
Brittany and Jim, some people from Columbia made the trip to Boston as runners and spectators. And while they expected a long day ahead of them, no one was prepared for the not one but two blasts at the finish line. David Bond was at the finish line waiting on his wife Becky to finish the race when it happened. We also spoke to Bond's wife after the bomb struck, along with a friend who ran with her.
My mind, I was going, okay, what do I do? How do I find her? Do I go find her, or do I just stay somewhere and she's going to meet me? And so she finally texted me and said, I'm okay.
All the neighborhood people came out. They went out and got water. They got trash bags for us to stay warm with. They gave us water and aspirin, and everyone was trying to comfort everybody. It was very nice because it was scary.
One of our friends came upstairs after she finished and said that there were two explosions at the finish of the race. She had just finished and was walking through and had heard the explosions and came directly to our hotel, which is less than a mile from the finish.
David and Becky Bond say they were not able to call each other because of bad cell service, but were able to get in touch through their son who lives in Kirksville.
KOMU 8's Dan Kennedy is standing by with the names of all of our local runners who were there running in the race and an interactive look at where the explosions took place on the course. Dan?
Thanks, Brittany. As we all know by now, it was a big day for the city of Boston. Patriots Day, the Red Sox played, and of course that marathon. And now we have a list of all 16 entrants from around mid-Missouri and in Columbia. The youngest is 29, the oldest 66. We've also been able to find one runner from Fulton and one from Jefferson City. And now we're going to show you a look at that course where they were today. It's a standard marathon distance, 26.2 miles long. If you look at the map, take a closer look. That green square that says 26, that's the location of the blast this afternoon on Boylston Street. And if you've ever been to Boston, that's about a mile away from Fenway Park, which the runners pass on mile marker 25. Today, the New York Times took a closer look at where those explosions took place. Go onto their website. It shows at about 3 p.m. on the north side of Boylston, there towards the bottom of your screen. That was right in front of the public library. That was the first blast. And the second one up towards the top of your screen, that was where the second explosion happened about 10 seconds after the first, each about 550 feet apart. And Google also created a website today to help folks get in touch with loved ones because it's very difficult to get in touch with people. You can log on and provide information about someone's whereabouts or request information. Anybody can do that. And then I just found this a couple hours ago. This is a Google document created where folks can share and offer places to stay, complete with their names, numbers, and addresses. Brittany, just an incredible outpouring of support from folks here in the area.
Thanks, Dan, and be sure to stay with us both on air, online. We'll bring you all the updates we get as we uncover more information about the Boston Marathon bombings.
And today's rainy weather has turned into some scattered showers and thunderstorms this evening, and nothing severe out there, but you'll notice that there is a severe thunderstorm warning outside of our viewing area down in Benton County, just a little bit south of Truman Lake. Those are all drifting toward the northeast, but fairly slowly. As you can see, some of the heavier rainfall has moved through California, Russellville, headed for Jefferson City, through Columbia and Ashland. And again, the main threat here tonight is heavy rain, maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. Nothing severe out there just yet. There may be a storm watch posted a little later on tonight. We'll keep you posted right here at KOMU TV.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Well, the Columbia City Council just made a decision on the plan to fix traffic troubles on Providence Road.
The Providence Road expansion plan has been in debate for several weeks now. KOMU8's Danielle Carter joins us live from the meeting to tell us what was decided. Danielle?
Now, just a little while ago, there were a lot of people milling around behind me because they couldn't get into the council chambers. That's how packed it was with people wanting to get in to talk about the possible changes to Providence Road. Now, here's what the council has decided. They voted 5-2 to rescind the popular option 9 that was passed in last November as a consideration to fix the problems. Now, this is how the Public Works Director described that option.
That's part of option 9. Turner, we call it Turner, Rollins, Burnham, and there's a light that goes in at Turner, and that helps with their parking garage on the university, get traffic in and out of their garage. And then also a light would go in at Burnham, which helps the Grasslands neighborhood get access to Providence as well.
Some stores, that's where the neighborhood market comes.
Now, since this option got shot down, there is another option on the table. That one is called option 8A. It would include a sidewalk along Burnham, which is heavily traveled by pedestrians. And it's also a lot cheaper. It's only $2.1 million versus the $3.2 for the previous option. Now, the council has plans to come up with new options at a later date. Reporting live in Columbia, Danielle Carter, KOMU8 News.
The City Council also hosted a public hearing to discuss the rezoning of the southwest corner of Grindstone Parkway and Rock Quarry Road. That property is currently zoned to agriculture, but there's a push to make it a business district. This would allow a break-time gas station to be built, a convenience store at that corner. The Planning and Zoning Commission passed the motion to support the rezoning 5-4 back in March. The council now suggests the denial of the request, saying it does not find the proposed commercial use appropriate for that location.
The Columbia City Council tabled a big construction project yet again tonight. The Parkside Estates developer submitted a letter asking the City Council to table the proposal for a housing development on Route K south of Old Plank Road. The letter states circumstances have come up that require more time, but does not say what those circumstances are. According to the City Planning Office, Southside Trail Estates attorney and Missouri State Park staff members have been discussing changes to the proposal. One city planner says details about the possible changes are still unknown, though.
We understand that talks are general and really could include anything about the relationship of the property as it directly abuts Rockbridge Memorial State Park. So at this time, staff's not aware of what could be coming in terms of possible changes.
The new plan will be introduced at the May 20th City Council meeting.
The Department of Revenue's director resigned today amid controversy over how the department handles your private data. Brian Long handed his resignation to Governor Nixon just after 4 months on the job. Here's the latest development in the controversy over the Revenue's decision to start scanning your private data into a central database every time you reapply for a state ID like a driver's license. That database included a list of all of Missouri's concealed carry permit holders, which was released to the Social Security Administration via the Highway Patrol. Lawmakers are pushing legislation to ban that practice and delete the database. Governor Nixon has appointed Deputy Director John Mollenkamp as the acting director. Mollenkamp testified in hearings last week along with Long and other Department of Revenue personnel. Columbia Senator Kurt Schaefer, who is leading the Senate's investigation, said Long was thrown under the bus. Both the Department of Revenue and the governor's office refused to comment on this story.
Authorities are now saying Brent Komu, the victim in last week's fire in Miller County, was burglarizing the home at that time. Miller County Sheriff Bill Abbott says he received reports that led his department to that conclusion. Abbott would not say what was in the reports or who they were from. He also refused to say if there was any other evidence that led them to that conclusion. Miller County Prosecuting Attorney Matt Howard said he could not comment about the ongoing investigation either.
Faulty wiring was the cause of an 8-year-old's death at the Lake of the Ozarks last summer. Up next, what his classmates are doing to remember him.
Yeah, I agree. You divide.
Tonight, we want to share an update about a boy who died last summer at a boat dock in the Lake of the Ozarks.
8-year-old Braden Anderson was one of 2 children who passed away because of faulty electrical wiring. KOMU8's Michelle Schulke brings us the story about how his classmates are planning to honor him.
Most people are honored with gravestones, but one little boy is different.
It's just nice to sit in a spot that they know Braden loved, and it's not his gravesite.
Instead, it's a memorial to honor the former Southern Boone student, 8-year-old Braden Anderson. His classmates worked to dedicate a special tribute to him here at the school's Learning Garden.
The kids worked with the counselors to kind of brainstorm about what a memorial is and what they wanted to do to, symbolize for Braden the things that he liked and his favorite colors and stuff like that. But they also wrote down words that made them think of Braden.
An area shaded with trees behind the makeshift greenhouse is getting 10 new benches to honor Braden's favorite hobby. Thanks to a local artist, the benches will also be filled with tiles. Manny, Jamie, and art teacher Megan Cooper worked with the 3rd grade students to create tiles that reflect Braden's favorite things.
Each of the benches will have 12 mosaic tiles laid out along the top. They will also have the words above them that the 3rd graders and the counselors came up with together.
There's key words like friendship is one of them, and love and unity.
And in some ways, the garden is uniting the community as a whole.
It's terrible, but it's a tremendous honor at the same time for the garden to be able to help them with that.
Michelle Schulke, KOMU8 News, Ashland.
The Memorial Garden is still in progress as it waits for new benches. The current ones are being replaced because they weren't strong enough for the elementary students to play on every day.
Mid-Missouri marathon runners react to the explosions in Boston today. We'll have the latest on the investigation.
And a thunderstorm watch has just been issued for a good chunk of mid-Missouri, so they're anticipating some strong storms tonight. We've got the forecast coming up on KOMU8 News at 10.
Heart of Missouri Chevy dealers. Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather with Chief Weathercaster Dave Schmidt.
Well, good evening to you. Well, as I mentioned just a moment ago, a severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for mid-Missouri. That goes till 5 o'clock in the morning. So they're taking their good, sweet time about watching these storms will slowly roll through. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning right now down just a little bit south of the Truman Lake area in Benton County. Other than that, the heaviest amount of rain we've been seeing is that thunderstorm that just moved through Columbia a moment ago. It's into Jefferson City right now. It's already moved through California, moving through Jefferson City, headed for Fulton, and of course around the Oz and Mexico area will be a part of that system as it rolls through. These particular storms, not severe at the moment, but obviously they're anticipating some storms that will produce some gusty high winds and the potential for some hail. 49 degrees right now with a thunderstorm moving through. Winds have kicked up to 20 miles per hour out of the northeast at the present time. Temperatures around the viewing area, well, that cold front is moving through and you can kind of see the temperatures change from the 50s in the south. Thursday, and then we finally dry out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's a soaker there, Brittany.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Hours after the explosion, police are still searching for answers in Boston. We'll have the latest on the investigation after the break.
And an Ohio rape trial continues with jury selection, but some Ohio residents are not happy with the process.
And your lottery numbers, good luck.
We have an update from
At any location or boonbank.com. Strong roots, endless possibilities.
We have an update from Boston where multiple explosions sounded today.
Right now there are 3 people dead and more than 140 injured. KOMU8's Drew Brackett spoke to Mid-Missouri runners who know the mental and physical struggle of a marathon even without today's events. Drew, what was said?
I spoke with multiple runners today about the tragic events in Boston. It has been a rough stretch for some of the biggest marathons in the world. Remember in November when the New York City Marathon was canceled due to Hurricane Sandy. Now the Boston Marathon was interrupted by the deadly explosions. Running a marathon takes hard work and dedication. One runner I talked to says she would have been upset if something like that would have happened to her.
It would be devastating because it's a huge feat to get to the starting line for one thing, but I mean you're surrounded by like a lot of people and camaraderie, and it's just you set your mind so much on just that finish, and just you've put yourself through months and months of training, and to have that taken away from you is pretty devastating.
Other runners I spoke with were disappointed and scared by the events that happened today.
You know, the national news, a police sergeant in Florida is defending his decision to bring targets resembling Trayvon Martin to a firearms training session. The sergeant was first suspended, then fired for bringing the target, showing a faceless silhouette of a person in a hooded sweatshirt holding a drink and a pack of Skittles. He says the targets were an example of a situation where a gun should not be fired. Martin's attorney says the images are insensitive and they violate the trust between the community and the police. A group called Occupy Steubenville rallied today. The protest comes as the state attorney general's office began grand jury selection in the rape case of a 16-year-old girl last August. This comes a month after 2 high school football players were found delinquent of rape following a 4-day trial. Evidence will be presented to determine if any other crimes were committed.
2 soccer fans were shot and killed on their way to a game at a new stadium built for the World Cup in Brazil over the weekend. The stadium was just recently completed in the northeastern Brazilian city of Fortaleza. 2 young fans of one team were shot from a passing vehicle carrying fans of the other team. Police said they've arrested 1 man in connection with the killings. The game was considered a warm-up for the World Cup in 2014. The former captain of the shipwrecked Costa Concordia faced his first hearing in court today. The ship sunk off the Italian coast in January 2012. Prosecutors want the former captain to stand trial for manslaughter, causing a shipwreck and abandoning ship before all of the passengers were evacuated. The captain says he saved lives by bringing the ship closer to port. The judge will also consider if 5 other ship employees will be charged in the wake of the shipwreck.
Cardinal bats came alive today as Major League Baseball honors number 42. Sports is next.
What are your...
Drive and 24/7.
It's one layer of flavor after another. Welcome to Delicious.
Nice wheels. My mom's. The new Honda Accord. Car and driver's time best. A record 27 times. She's got good taste.
She gotta have the really big spring event. I know these things.
A loving heart is the beginning of all knowledge.
Carlisle, Thomas.
Want a chip?
We have to go.
Will I see you again?
Maybe. I'll watch you from a rear view camera.
I'll never forget that Accord.
Hurry into the really big spring event where you can get a great deal on a new Honda Accord. Hondas hold their value better than any other brand.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports with Chris Gervino.
Hello, everyone. The Cardinals have started a 10-game road trip in Pittsburgh. The Redbirds will play 3 against the Pirates, then 4 in Philadelphia, then 3 more in Washington. St. Louis starting this trip with a season record of 7-4. Today, all Major League players wearing number 42 to honor the late Jackie Robinson, the first African-American player in the major leagues. Cardinals got started right.
And more.
Today,
From Missouri. Information.
If you have concerns about your privacy, it is important that you contact your legislator and express your concern that your rights have been violated. Go to wrongwayj.com to tell your story. Paid for by United for Missouri.
One of Japan's most important springtime festivals reached an exciting point today. The Takayama Festival in central Japan dates back to ancient times when tradesmen would compete to build the most elaborate parade floats. The festival, held to pray for a good harvest, took place under blooming cherry trees. Divine dancing and dramatic performances by ancient mechanical dolls are also highlights of the event.
Coming up on KOMU 8 News today, tomorrow is National Healthcare Decisions Day. The Cole County Bar Association will be at various locations in Jefferson City giving free information on plans and medical decisions. And in Columbia, a Missouri Medicaid expansion team will first visit First Baptist Church to discuss legislation.
We also have a reporter en route to Boston to follow up on the Mid-Missourians who took part in the race. Look for his reports tomorrow on KOMU 8 News starting at 5 p.m.
And we have a little severe weather moving into our viewing area. We have a severe thunderstorm warning now for Camden and Morgan counties. That's till 11:15. The main threat here is going to be the potential for some 1-inch hail. We also have a severe thunderstorm watch that's been posted for all of our KOMU 8 viewing area till 5 o'clock in the morning. So batten down the hatches. We'll keep an eye on things for you.
You're going to have a late night tonight.
I think so.
All right, thanks, Dave.
This would be a good time to get the KOMU 8 weather app, Dave.
It would.
And how do you do that?
Just go to KOMU WX on the App Store and download that because, you know, it's absolutely free. It'll just cost a moment of your time.
A lot of number 42s on the playing field today, Chris.